Hello and welcome to In the Studio with Donny Carr. This is episode number 17. So I'm starting a new track here, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity to show you how I would process my kick. I usually start with a kick, and in this case I am, so let's get right to it. I've actually already done this and bounced out the kick, but I'm going to do it from scratch for you, but I'm going to do a little before and after comparison so you can see what we're working towards. So this is the sample that we'll be working with today. Sometimes I do design my own kicks with, let's say, Big Kick from Plug-in Boutique, or Sonic Academy's kick is amazing as well. So this is the sample we'll be using though, and the end result. All right, so let's get right to it. Let's mute this one here. We don't need him anymore. I just wanted to show you that. All right, that's just the dry sample doing its thing. So it's pretty commonplace, and rightfully so, is to layer your kicks, to have a low subby kick and a top kick sitting on top of that, and that way you can level match, balance against each other. Say you need a little bit more low end, you have the volume fader right there. It just makes mixing a lot easier. So that's what we're going to be doing today. On the low kick here, let's put a high cut. Alright, that sounds good there. I also want to make this low kick mono. There was a little bit of stereo information there. Now let's hop over to the high kick and let's do a low cut. But first we need to turn it up. Alright, I'm also going to take some of the top end off just to take away some of that kind of sizzle of the kick and make it a little bit more round. So let's do a low pass here. Alright, that sounds good. Now I have both of these kicks, the low kick and the high kick, sent over to this parallel chain here. So what's going on here, and I just narrowed this down a little bit, the top kick, left a little bit of width, but narrowed it just a touch. So both these kicks are going to the parallel chain, so it's just a channel here that's splitting the signal into 3 separate tracks: the dry signal, parallel compression, and we'll be doing some reverb action here as well. And then both these are summed here and then sent out to the kick bus. So let's add a little parallel compression. Very nice. That gives it a nice extra body and thickness and a little bit of smack. And I'm using the UAD DBX160, and I'm following that with just a EQ to sculpt it. And I might show you those specific settings in another tutorial or another video. But let's work on the reverb here. So a lot of techno kicks utilize the reverb to give it that extra space and ambience and vibe. So let's do some reverb action. Let's pull up the Valhalla Vintage Verb, give it a little bit of pre-delay, so it's kind of a little extra space for that initial transient to come through. That's good. Let's listen to that. It's not exactly what we're going for. So we need to shape that a little bit. So let's put an EQ on here, and we're going to cut some of those low frequencies out. We don't need them, and they're just going to muddy up the mix if we leave them in. So let's do a high pass. I want a steeper curve than that, so let's go for this one here. Cut some of those lows. Let's cut some of these tops and mids too. There you go. That's more of that kind of techno warehouse vibe going on. That's what I'm looking for. Now, I do actually want to control some of those lower frequencies on this reverb. So let's actually use the isotope imager here. Let's pull this up and let's have a look at the stereo field in the low frequencies on this reverb here. So let's say everything below 400, I want to know what's going on down there. That's not good. That's going to muddy your mix up a big time. So we need to control those low frequencies. So I'm going to say everything around below 360 I want to control and keep those frequencies mono. And we can let these higher frequencies, you know, have a little room to breathe and spread out a little bit, but the low frequencies we want to keep mono. Now it needs a little bit of sidechain to gel with the kick a little bit, to duck and groove and jive with the kick. So let's, I'm just going to use Kickstart here for the sake of the tutorial and time, but you can sidechain about a million different ways. But we're going to use this plugin here because it's quick and easy and it sounds good. So I'm going to go for this sub bass curve here, and we'll just mix it into taste. Somewhere around there, and then you can use the volume fader to adjust it to fit in your mix. But I would probably, you know, once this is all said and done, I'd probably commit it to audio. But we're not quite done yet, so let's continue on. So now that we have the parallel chains going, the parallel compression and the reverb sounding good, let's do some processing on the actual kick bus where everything is summed together. So first thing I want to do is pull up one of my favorite EQs, and that is the Pultec from UAD, and I have a special preset that I've made, so I'm going to just pull that up, and it's called the Techno Kick. So I'll briefly run you through it. It has a boost here at 60, a big boost at a very wide bandwidth, and also a cut as well. So how the Pultec works is it'll boost, and then the cut, or the attenuation is what that stands for, will occur right after the boost. So I have a big boost and a fairly big cut as well. And then hopping over to the high frequencies, I have a big boost at 4K and then a cut as well, but not quite as heavy as the first cut on the lower frequencies. So that's what's going on there. So that's giving it just that smack on your face feeling. So now I'm going to pull up a tape saturation plugin, and I'm also going to use UAD for this. This is going to be the UAD Studer 800. I love this plugin. It sounds so good. It just gives everything a nice subtle compression and just a nice warm roundness if you get the settings right. So when I'm working with this, I want it to just kind of tickle this red here, maybe hit 1.5 occasionally. Otherwise, I think it gets a little bit too crispy and crackly up top. And these tape settings kind of give it an extra, just different flavor of different tapes that were popular. And the IPS here, I believe, stands for inches per second, and that actually is the speed at which the tape is spinning. But the faster, the more, less compression and tape saturation you're actually going to be getting, and the slower, the more you will. All right, so I'm liking where that's heading. Let's add a little bit of that gain back. All right, let's listen to that again. I'm thinking we need a little cut. Just sounds a little bit kind of boxy and nasally and knocky around this 150 mark. So I'm going to cut some of that out. Probably a fairly big cut. Yeah, that definitely gives it some more definition and cleans things up a bit. All right, now let's just do a little subtle compression, just to not to overly compress it, just to glue everything together ever so slightly. And I've been testing out this plugin from UAD as well. It's one I haven't purchased, but I'm thinking about it and I really like it, and I want to show it to you. That's this Vertigo compressor here. Sounds really nice. All right, so let's dial this guy in. All right, so okay, I'm going to go for a fairly quick attack and a fairly quick release here. And let's see. I pull that up there. Okay. Now let's just pull back the threshold. I'd say maybe let's crank this up to 4:1 for this. And you can afford to be a little bit more aggressive. You have to think of what your goal is, and I want this to be a big aggressive techno kick. So let's pull back the threshold now till we're just getting a teeny little bit of compression. Yeah, maybe a half dB of compression, but it just gives it that extra oomph. I like it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's some more things you can do. You could maybe use some transient shaping where needed. But yeah, that's kind of how I would maybe start processing a kick. And I would definitely spend some more time on it, but I wanted to run you through how I would start the process. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon. Leave me a question, leave me a comment. Take care.